This podcast contains paid advertisements, but more on that later. Welcome to the O'Connor Bootstrap Podcast, where I discuss how you can grow your business by the bootstraps. This applies to everyone with an entrepreneurial spirit. That includes bootstrappers just starting out, established business owners, and business leaders. My goal is to help you grow both personally and professionally. I'm your host, Isaiah O'Connor. Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Audible.com, the world's largest repository of audiobooks with thousands upon thousands of titles to choose from, as well as other audio content such as Audible original content made just for Audible, some of which are books, some of which are self-help manuals, some of which are old style radio play style with sound effects, different voice actors, really nice, and college lectures, etc. Really, really great place to get information. And as I've said before, I would not be where I am in my life and business without them, quite honestly, because I've been able to listen to these books, especially on business and leadership and personal growth, when I have not been able to sit down and read at any other time. Plus, the cost is very low, $14.95 a month. Really amazing. And today's recommendation is directly linked to today's podcast, and that is the book Good to Great by Jim Collins. And if you're in business or leadership in any capacity, even if you're in church leadership, if you're in a coach for some sort of sports team, anything at all, this is an amazing book, not just on building a business, but becoming a better leader and building a better organization. Of course, if you go to audible.com/bootstrap, that's bootstrap with a capital B, you can get a free trial, a free 30-day trial with that code. And with that free 30-day trial, you get 2 Audible originals and 1 Audible book that you can download and keep forever. And even if you lose your app or change to a computer or change phones, you don't ever lose it. You can always go re-download it. As long as you have your account, you keep it forever, which is really amazing. They're amazing. Go check them out. Audible.com/bootstrap with a capital B. Get your free 30-day trial. They're amazing. And of course, you can get Good to Great by Jim Collins with that offer and keep that forever. And it's one of the few books I would say, as a business book, it's one of the few that are good enough. If that's the only one you get that one. Anyway, let's jump into this. In the book Good to Great, they talk about something they call the Stocksdale Paradox. Now, I'm going to explain that in just a moment. But the reason I'm talking about this paradox, it's talking about hard times. And right now, with today being November 17th, a lot of places are going under lockdown. Again, there's new lockdowns looming because of the coronavirus. There's new, stricter restrictions here where I am in Norway. I have a friend in England who is really struggling with his balloon business, and the lockdowns are coming to make things worse. I know of a lot of other businesses in the entertainment and event business that are really, really hurting right now. I have friends that have closed up shop permanently because of the coronavirus. They have to they can't go anymore. They're done. They're closed up. They're done. And I might even follow them when it comes to my balloon business. This might finish my business off as well. But that's okay. I'm okay. I'll be fine. One cannot predict at the beginning of this year, 2020 would be, well, 2020 It's been insane. I'm expecting an alien invasion or a giant robot or a giant monster attack Godzilla anytime soon. But that's another story. With the coronavirus having to go so long with so little income, it's been devastating for a lot of businesses and consequently for a lot of people as well. It's hard to lose income. It's hard not to be able to take care of your family. It's very stressful. It's very scary. And I fully understand that. I'm there. And if this keeps up and keeps going, I will be forced to shut down my balloon business, which is just okay because I didn't have my entire life packed into my business. I did not find my full identity in my business. And I can still do a podcast. I can still broadcast. I'm working on some other things, which hopefully I'll be able to tell you guys about here in the future if things work out. So I'm okay. I'll be okay. But it's so hard. It's so rough pushing through hard times like these. And the problem is you can't give up hope. But you also need to face brutal facts of things are rough right now. And I'm at that position where I can still hope that my balloon business makes it. But I have to face these brutal facts that I'm not making enough money from my business to feed my family. I need to go on government support to take care of my family right now because I don't have any income rolling in. So I have to do something different. The brutal facts are I might have to let my business go in order to take care of my family. As much as that sucks and as hard as that is, especially with all the blood, sweat, and tears I've put into it, and this being the first year I haven't grown my business because of, well, coronavirus. Out of my control. Sometimes things happen. So let's jump back to the Stocksdale Paradox, and that's where you have to face the brutal facts, but still remain home comes from. In the book Good to Great by Jim Collins, he recounts this story of him, this guy named Admiral Jim Stockdale, who he got to meet and talk to. Now, I'm going to go read a page from the book. This is chapter 4, pages 83 to 85 in the book Good to Great by Jim Collins. You can, of course, go listen to it on Audible, or if you get the book, you can go actually pick the physical book and go read this. I highly suggest go reading this book. The whole book is amazing, but this is an incredible story, and I will be posting this in my O'Connor Bootstrap book club, which is free and open to everyone. If you want to come and look at books with me and other people, other business people, talk about business books, come over to my little group on Facebook, the O'Connor Bootstrap Book Club, and go check it out. This will be in there talking about this as well. And I will also be putting stuff into the secret group, private group that you get if you become a supporter of this podcast. So, sorry, got distracted there, but let's read this from Good to Great. The name refers to Admiral Jim Stockdale, who was the highest-ranking United States military officer in the, quote, Hanoi Hilton, unquote, prisoner of war camp during the height of the Vietnam War. Tortured over 20 times during his 8-year imprisonment from 1965 to 1973, Stockdale lived out the war without any prisoners' rights, no set release date, and no certainty as to whether he would even survive to see his family again. He shouldered the burden of command, doing everything he could to create conditions that would increase the number of prisoners who would survive unbroken, while fighting an internal war against his captors and their attempts to use the prisoners for propaganda. At one point, he beat himself with a stool and cut himself with a razor, deliberately disfiguring himself so that he could not be put on videotape as an example of a well-treated prisoner. He exchanged secret intelligence information with his wife through their letters, knowing that discovery would mean more torture and perhaps death. He instituted rules that would help people deal with torture. No one can resist torture indefinitely, so he created a stepwise system. After X minutes, you can say certain things. That gave the men milestones to survive towards. He instituted an elaborate internal communication system to reduce the sense of isolation that their captors tried to create, which used a 5x5 matrix of tap codes for alpha letters. For example, tap tap equals letter A, tap pause tap tap equals letter B, tap tap pause tap equals letter F, and so forth, for 25 letters. C doubling for K. At one point during an imposed silence, the prisoners mopped and swept the central yard using the code, switching out "We love you" to Stockdale, on the 3rd anniversary of his being shot down. After his release, Stockdale became the first 3-star officer in the history of the Navy to wear both aviator wings and the Congressional Medal of Honor. Just an aside, this guy's a badass. What can I say? This guy's tough. Now, back to reading. You can understand then my anticipation at the prospect of spending part of an afternoon with Stockdale. One of my students had written his paper on Stockdale, who happened to be a senior research fellow studying the Stoic philosophers at the Hoover Institution right across the street from my office, and Stockdale invited the two of us for lunch. In preparation, I read In Love and War, the book Stockdale and his wife had written in alternating chapters chronicling their experience during those 8 years. As I moved through the book, I found myself getting depressed. It just seemed so bleak. The uncertainty of his fate, the brutality of his captors, and so forth. And then it dawned on me. Here I am, sitting in my warm and comfortable office, looking out over the beautiful Stanford campus on a beautiful Saturday afternoon. I'm getting depressed reading this, and I know the end of the story. I know that he gets out, reunites with his family, becomes a national hero, and gets to spend the later years of his life studying philosophy on the same beautiful campus. If it feels depressing for me, how on earth did he deal with it when he was actually there and did not know the end of the story? I never lost faith in the end of the story, he said when I asked him. I never doubted not only that I would get out, but also that I would prevail in the end and turn the experience into the defining event of my life, which, in retrospect, I would not trade. I didn't say anything for many minutes, and we continued the slow walk towards the faculty club. Stockdale, limping and arc-swinging his stiff leg that had never fully recovered from repeated torture. Finally, after about 100 meters of silence, I asked, "Who didn't make it out?" "Oh, that's easy," he said. "The optimist." "The optimist?" "I don't understand," I said, now completely confused, given what he had said 100 meters earlier. "The optimist? Oh, they were the ones who said, 'We're going to be out by Christmas.' And then Christmas would come, and Christmas would go. Then they'd said, 'We're going to be out by Easter.' And Easter would come, and Easter would go. And then Thanksgiving, and it would be Christmas again, and they died of a broken heart." Another long pause, and more walking. Then he turned to me and said, "This is a very important lesson. You must never confuse faith that you will prevail in the end, which you can never afford to lose, with the discipline to confront the most brutal facts of your current reality, whatever they might be." To this day, I carry a mental image of Stockdale admonishing the optimist, "We're not getting out by Christmas. Deal with it." That is Good to Great by Jim Collins. Just one page or a couple pages. And that, I almost don't need to continue after that. That's just such an incredible, powerful story. And it's so real and so pertinent in this day and age. And I'm going to share, like I said, in my book club and on all our social media pages, the video of Jim Collins recounting the story personally, which he has done since the coronavirus came out to encourage people. And here's this thing. Right now, the brutal facts are, in my case, the event industry is come to a screeching halt. It's slowly picked up a little speed, but it's just limping on by. I can't provide for my family, but I will make it. I will be okay. I might have to face the brutal facts about my business and have to shut it down, which will be sad, but it is the brutal facts. I might have to do that. And this coronavirus thing is not going away anytime soon. They've been saying that for months. It's been, next month, 15-day lockdown, couple month lockdown. We're going to just have to wait a little bit longer. We're going to have to wait for a vaccine. Now there might be a vaccine. But we still have to lock down a little bit longer and make sure everyone gets it. We don't know when this is going to end. We can trust that this will end, that we will get out of this coronavirus mess, that things will settle down, things will calm down. 2020 will become a memory that will be both bad and humorous because of all the disasters in 2020. There is humor in that as well, but we will make it through this mess. We will make it through this virus. Our businesses might not make it. Let's face it, our businesses might not make it through, but we will survive. And because we're bootstrappers, we're businessmen, we're entrepreneurs, we're leaders, we can survive this to make it through. As I've said before in a previous episode, in the height of this pandemic, that your business death is not the end. And that's one of the brutal facts you might have to face. You might have to face losing a business, or you might be listening to this and you have lost your business. And it sucks. I'm not going to say be happy about that. Of course, don't be happy about this type of thing. But don't give up faith in the fact that you're going to get through this. You've got the skills. This can make you stronger. Look at Admiral Stockdale. I mean, dude cut his own face, beat the crap out of himself so they couldn't use him for propaganda. Tough dude. And he comes out and he goes on to be a professor and live a great life afterwards. Even though he was hurt, even though this might leave scars, he was limping, dragging a leg that was damaged from so much torture. Sure, you might come out of this hurt, you might come out of this scarred, but you will come out of this alive and stronger, if not physically, mentally, emotionally. But you have to have the faith that you will come out of it. Don't think this is going to end next week. Don't think this is going to end by Christmas. Don't set dates. Don't set key things, because life is going to go, ha ha, no. I've seen that over and over and over again, and it's been rough. I've been hoping that by now I could have opened up my business full throttle. The other event companies I'm working with are sitting there waiting and not open up yet, and they're struggling. The malls I've usually done work for are struggling. There's so many businesses struggling right now that it's really, really hard. And my business might not make it through. That's a brutal fact. But I will. I've been transitioning into other revenue streams, working on the podcast, for example, working on some other deals here and there to try to get things going, get things in, putting in job applications, working on getting ways to find another job using my skill set I've built up running the business. I've now got a better skill set. I'm now able, because I've had to vastly expand my skill set running my own business. I can now apply for jobs where you need to understand accounting. Not that I'm great at it, but I do understand it a lot better than I did 6 years ago, before I started this, I'm much better at marketing. I'm much better at organizing things, planning things, etc. All this experience has gone on to help make me a person who can bounce back from this and continue on. I've gotten better at research, which is part of what's led to this podcast, because a lot of these podcasts, I do some research before them. Sometimes a lot, sometimes a little bit, depending on how much time I have, etc. But become a better researcher, become a better writer, become a better communicator. All this from running a business. And even if the business goes under, I'm not going to go under. I will be fine. And just want to encourage everyone out there listening to this that, yeah, things might be hard. You might be losing your business. You might be losing a job, losing position. The lockdowns are rough. This coronavirus thing is a pain in the rear. I understand. I'm here with you. I'm suffering just as much as you guys are. But have faith that this too will pass. We will make it through. We will survive and come out stronger on the other side. But just keep the faith, but do face the facts. To go, okay, I might have to close down my business. I might lose my job. Okay, then what's the plan? How do I deal with this? How do I keep the faith and yet be able to deal with the brutal facts and face them head on and fight them? So that's it. And I'm going to just end with that last quote from Jim Stockdale, which I think is so amazing and sums up everything quite nicely. This is a very important lesson. You must never confuse faith that you will prevail in the end, which you can never afford to lose, with the discipline to confront the most brutal facts of your current reality, whatever they might be. Admiral Jim Stockdale. If you found value in this content, please leave a comment and give us a 5-star rating on whichever podcast platform you use. We're on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google, and most other podcast platforms. If you would like to support us, you can check out our sponsor links, or if you'd like to support us directly, you can donate or join our membership program at buymeacoffee.com/bootstrap. Of course, it really helps when you share these podcasts with your friends as well. If you'd like to interact with me and other bootstrappers and leaders, you can join us over at our O'Connor Bootstrap Podcast Facebook group. You have been listening to the O'Connor Bootstrap Podcast, an Atheoz Business Solutions podcast. For our companion podcast, the Atheoz Business Podcast, which is hosted by Jason St. Clair, past episodes and related blogs, please check out our website at www.atheoz.com, which is at www.atheoz.com or theoz.com. Until next time, I have been your friendly neighborhood entrepreneur, Isaiah O'Connor.